Yeah, go right ahead.
On the ordinance, in section 2, the first one is civilian police. It's a reduction of $11,200. That $11,200 comes from reductions in their hospitalization costs and their BWC costs.
Say that again, please.
It
I thought
comes
we were
in-
looking at the spreadsheet.
Okay. Does he, Barry, you want to go back and forth? Or?
I just go to the spreadsheet on.
Okay.
Spreadsheet on.
So the first section is General Fund 129, which is civilian police, and General Fund 130, which is uniform police. There are $11,200 worth of reductions to the civilians, and $50,000 or $70,000 worth of reductions to uniform police. The reductions for uniform police you will see in two different places. You will see it in the safety fund, and you will also see it here. This is part of the reduction of unfunding to police officers. Does anybody have any questions on page 1? So that's a total of $81,200 of cuts to police in the general fund.
I'm sorry,
Page
yeah.
1.
So we're cutting some summation numbers on page 1 right again.
Page for civilian police, it's $11,200, and that's BWC and hospitalization costs. For uniform police, that's $70,000, and that's a combination of hospitalization and the unfunding of 2 police officers.
Okay, got it, thank you.
We then, on page 2, is everybody on page 2?
Yep.
On page 2, in Parks and Recreation, you'll see a reduction of $27,300. $25,300 of that is out of the utility line. You'll see another ordinance coming later today to donate the water and sewer to the parks. We are also shutting the lights off at Ted Lewis for night lights. And Don Sherman can probably speak to this better than me, but they're extremely inefficient and they cost considerable amount of money, and the lights at Barthelmess are a lot more cost effective.
The anticipated savings of shutting the lights off at Ted Lewis,
$8,000.
$8,000.
And that's for about 2 months, 2-3 months.
Don's got a question.
Yes, sir. Don?
One question, and we're going to shut the lights off at Ted Lewis. I would recommend we shut them off at Barthelmess so we don't favor one league over another. The savings at Barthelmess probably is not a lot, but to be fair to the various leagues, just something for the council to think about.
So would we know what the estimated savings on that would be?
The lights at Barthelmess aren't very much. I think the thought was that they could use Barthelmess instead of playing at Ted Lewis. They could play
The girls softball cannot play out there because the field is the wrong type of field and it's got a mound. So girls softball cannot play out there.
I will also note that where it says donate water and sewer to the parks, I have an ordinance under new business because it's a utility account. We have to have an ordinance for that. That will be added under new business. Okay, we'll take that under consideration. Thank you.
Just consideration.
Supplies are cut $1,000, and park and other expenses are cut $1,000. So it's a total of $27,300 out of Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
We're moving on to page 3.
Before we go any further, what's the cost of having the water at the splash pad?
Individually, I don't know, maybe $18,000, but it's about $20,000 for all the parks.
Okay, thank you.
Gail's estimated it's a $20,000 savings if we donate the water to the park systems.
And that's citywide then.
And that's citywide, it's for all the parks.
Okay.
On page 3, is reduction in the zoning of $21,770 for the contract enforcement.
So that's the code enforcement officer.
Correct.
That will be unfunded.
that's the contract. It's a contract employee now.
Right.
And then in Hargis Creek cleanup, they're lowering it by $2,000. So altogether in planning and zoning, and it would be $23,770.
What do we do for Harvest Creek?
So,
Various times, we have, if we get trees down and brush on the banks and stuff, we have to cut that back and clean it.
Todd?
Harry, I hate to go back, but, need to go back here to the 27,000 that we're cutting out of
On
our.
page 2, yep.
Yes. This is coming out of the this is the money that was coming out of general fund, right?
Correct.
Our recent levy for parks and recs and street improvements,
can't pay for this.
Capping, that's gotta be capped.
It's gonna be
it's
capital.
got to
You
come
can't
out of capital.
pay any operating costs out of it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be capital.
All right, I knew there was a reason, I just wanted to have it. in
Good
case
question.
you asked me.
Good
Thank you.
question. Tom?
Yeah, the auditor had suggested we make this change, this been a year or two ago, that this was an option that the state auditor would support, to have utilities paid by the utility department. And, so it's nothing new, at least to some of us. So for-
Yeah. It's been mentioned in the past.
Okay, multiple times.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to page 4. And this is basic utilities. Stormwater compliance is reduced by $15,000 and stormwater maintenance is reduced by $8,000 for a total of $23,000. Oh, wait a minute, no, it's reduced by $2,000. Don just had a heart attack. My 1-3 squad. We're reducing stormwater by $2,000
For a total of 17.
for a total of $2,000.
2,000.
The 15 for stormwater compliance is still there.
Question here.
Yes, sir.
I saw last year we spent $4,800 and we budgeted $10,000. I assume we had some plans that maybe we're gonna have to cut down.
That's stormwater maintenance, so it depends. We try not to spend that money. What we did last year, we had one on Harmony Creek out by Roads 56 started washing in. We went out and fixed that. That's kind of our preventing, that's what we use that money for. Fortunately, knock on wood, we only had one instance last year. With all this rain, I know we have one on Clark Drive we've got to go fix. It'll probably be $3,000 or $4,000. So we may have 2 or 3 this year. We only had one last year. So, you know, if we don't have it, then I can't go repair it.
I guess the question I have is, if this becomes an emergency, what options do we have? I mean, how critical is it that we get this repaired?
Well, I can tell you the one last year, if we didn't get it repaired, we lost 56. The road actually started to crack. So depending on where it's at, the one that's on Clark now we got to go fix. We're within a couple of feet of exposing the sanitary sewer line, so it's got to be fixed. So we're very judicious in when we spend that money and not.
Thank you.
Yep, page 5.
On page 5 is the street department in the general fund. It's basically service. They're cutting safety equipment by $1,500. On page 6 is human resources. They're cutting out a HR Chrome software package that they had wanted to purchase for $13,500, and they're cutting their forms and documents by $200 for a total of $13,700. In the mayor's line, he's cutting his outside legal by $5,000. Moving to page 8, In the auditor's office, I'm reducing my part-time person from 24 hours to 20 hours, and then reducing my computer support and my contract services by 3,200. For a total of 6,562. In the treasurer's office, Brent said reduce his supplies and his personnel training by $500. On page 10, we're at civil service. They're reducing civil service personnel costs by $1,400 and their supplies by $500.
Did you say the first part again?
Civil service wages by $1,400. Civil service has the wages for the civil service community, and then they also have a part-time position that HR is filling.
So which are we cutting or both?
Just the $1,400.
Is that for the part-time employee? Is that for the?
Yes, it's coming out of it's all in the same line. The part-time and their salaries are all in the same line.
So the salaries are being tagged?
The salaries are maintained.
Okay. So HR is taking over that role?
Yes,
Okay,
and they have been doing that for quite a while.
okay.
In municipal court, on
Page
page 11, you will see an increase of $11,232 in personnel. What that is in 2000, when I did the budget, I missed one of their employees that went from grant to full-time, and I cut him by 420 hours, so this is reinstating that 420 hours. On page 12 is the service department. Reducing tree removal by $1,000, reducing building maintenance by $20,000, and removing Everett's building maintenance by $15,000 for a total of $36,000 out of service department's general government account.
Don, was there any specific project that just eliminated?
What that does is, it basically eliminates any safety net we have. If we lose a HVAC unit, AC unit, a garage door goes bad, we do not have the
Compressor?
anything. Lights, for instance, right now, the lights at the fire station in Bay needs upgraded and replaced, and about half of them are out. We just will not do that this year.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Don, do we, for what it's worth, do we maintain a list of maintenance needs citywide in terms of our buildings? In other words, it would be interesting to know what the scope of if it's deferred maintenance or whatever. I just wondered if we have a handle on what we're sacrificing in terms of upkeep of our buildings. And I'm just wondering what's an appropriate cost if we had, I'm not suggesting we have the funds today, but thinking long term, and maybe you don't have an answer tonight.
I do somewhat. Most of that, the bigger projects are all out of 306.
Okay.
These 101 projects are changing furnace filters, small repairs, toilets leaking. This is mainly our smaller things.
Okay.
If we're looking at, and I'll get into we get an HVAC. When you get in 306, you'll see we're taking money out for replacing some HVAC work at the police and court. Fire station 1 needs a new roof. We have a semi list.
Yeah.
We need to get better at it, but we do have some on the list. This was our routine, everyday things that happen to break and have to be replaced.
And also to note, we also took out $15,000 for potential Everett's maintenance. And with the recent news of PICA and Y, that's a future discussion for committee as a whole. Is that correct, David? On what we're going to do with that building.
Okay. I'll move to page 13. page 13 has a whole lot of different things in it. It's reducing personnel by $20,738. What that is, it's $4,000 and lowering workers' comp and $18,000 lowering hospitalization costs. And then we are also lowering the computer support for City Hall, and all the admin is being lowered. Copier equipment is being lowered. We lowered the utilities to get a closer reflection of what it was last year. Hopefully it'll get warm someday so we can turn the furnaces off. We reduced the county auditor fees and the insurance. We took the deductibles out. Normally we keep deductibles in there in case we have a claim, but at this point, if we haven't received a claim in 19, most likely it won't come till 20. And then we reduced other ones to reflect closer, other lines to reflect closer what those expenditures were in 2018. On the bottom of page 13, you'll see a reduction of $30,000. We've had some retirements in the last couple years, and the retirement fund is down. So we've transferred $10,000 in there, and we'll cut the other $30,000, because I only anticipate maybe one retirement this year, and there should be sufficient monies in there to cash that retirement out.
Okay. So can you talk about where it says total general government fund is reduced $886,000?
No, not from the spreadsheets, won't give you an accurate, because that's not all the spreadsheets in the whole fund. I only printed out what we cut. The cuts to the general fund are $320,970.
What is it again?
$320,970.
Reductions in the general fund.
That's just the reductions to the general fund, yes.
Okay, so what is this other number then? It's 886.
On the spreadsheets,
Yeah, it shows a reduction of 889 to 87,000.
I don't have,
It's the bottom page 13, the big dark black line, total general government.
it's just the total, but I didn't add everything across. You only have the pages that I'm changing. There are a lot of pages in the general fund that didn't get changed. I only printed you out what we changed, so that total at the bottom is not correct on that spreadsheet.
Okay, so we should completely disregard that.
Disregard that number at the bottom, yes.
Okay.
The general fund's a lot more pages than that. We just didn't cut every single department. Like, you don't see council here. There were no cuts to council, so you don't see council here. You don't see the clerk report. There were no cuts to the clerk reports. So the funds and the accounts that had no cuts in them, you don't see those pages here.
Okay.
These are more or less my work papers.
Gil, I probably don't have the answer to this. Have you heard anything about the reimbursement of the $100,000 from the AEP poll incident?
No, I couldn't.
I can update you on that. I talked to a law director this week. They have called back and want to go to arbitration. Gary is working on setting that up.
There's a little relief.
No, that all goes into 909.
Utilities.
It's all utility money.
Yeah.
All right, Gail, go right ahead.
Okay,
Nice try.
we're starting into the special revenue funds. The first one is Fund 202, which is the income tax fund. We're lowering the RETA contract by $20,000 because income tax revenues are down, so the fee is less. Lowering the accounting system by $500 and their supplies by $300, so for a total of $20,800. We're next moving to the street construction fund, which is Fund 203. That is a reduction of $25,000.
For workers' comp?
No, for hospitalization.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then in Fund 204, that is actually an increase of $10,000. Where that's coming from is coming from Fund 306. There's too much expenditure in 306, so this part of that has been moved to 204.
That's for equipment lease?
Yes, it's for the leases for the new trucks.
Can we move
Part of it.
funds from one special revenue fund to another?
No, you can't. You can move expense. We're not moving revenue, we're moving expense.
Okay, okay,
You can't move revenue.
that's what I thought. Okay. Which
And
one I had?
Fund 208 is the Drug Law Enforcement Fund. This fund can only spend the money it has, and right now it only has a $500 cash balance, so it's reduced to reflect that $500 cash balance.
Where does that come from, that money?
Drugs,
Well, I mean-
when they confiscate drugs
Okay.
and things like that, it goes into there. It goes into there into 207. Fund 211 is the cable television fund. These are the cuts, are $59,000. 1,000 of it is from furniture and fixtures, 5,000 is maintenance of equipment, and 53,000 of it came out of new equipment for cable TV.
Some of this also is a reflection of the ordinance we're going to pass?
It's a reflection of this loss of 48,000, yes.
Okay.
Then you come to 212, which is the police department, 212-0130, which is the police department. In personnel and salary and wages, there's a reduction of $68,711. That plus with the $50,000 that's out of the general fund unfunds 2 full-time police officers. And then the employee benefit portion is the reduction in their Ohio Police and Pension, Medicare, and their hospitalization costs for those 2 police officers. Then they reduced their travel and transportation by $10,250. They reduced their capital outlay by $8,750. Their contractual services by $16,500. And supplies and incidentals by $60,500. For a total of $237,772 out of the police department's budget.
What kind of budget do they have for supplies and incidentals if they can cut $60,000?
Chief?
We had I think out of that one we had,
It's multiple lines. It's not all supplies and incidentals.
It says maintenance as well.
Yeah, it's maintenance of equipment. Here, I'll read them off. Supplies is $4,500. Forms and documents is $8,000. Manual revision is $10,000. Offender booking fees is $8,000. And then maintenance of equipment is $34,000. So it adds up to that $60,500. It's just not supplies of one line.
Yeah, supplies and incidentals make it sound like it's something else. Thank you.
Yes, Tom?
Thank you, Chief.
well, I'm glad I was able to express it like that.
My question is on the summary at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
salary and wages for, the one officer is $68,711.
That's the two that added together. $50,000 in the general fund and $68,711 added together equals 2 officers.
I understand
Okay.
that. My question here is, the, employee benefits are more than the salary and wages.
Not if you add the $50,000 out of the general fund.
Okay, so I'll rephrase my question. Does this mean that the employee benefits for both officers are in this fund, but the salaries are split?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that answers my question. Thank you. So $73,000 is for 2 officers.
It's their benefits, their
Okay.
police and fire pension.
Okay, thanks.
On page 20 is the safety fund for the firefighters. We're unfunding salaries of $136,121. That's unfunding all the part-time firefighters after the first quarter for $77,500, and unfunding a full-time police officer from July 1 to the end of the year for $58,621.
Full-time firefighter even?
A full-time firefighter for half the year. It also then corresponds, and lowers their Medicare, their police and fire pension, and their hospitalization costs. So it's a total, I'm sorry,
And that firefighter's resigning in June, and we're not filling that position.
we're not
funding.
refilling the position.
Question.
Yes,
Will, and maybe this will come in later, are we gonna be impacted with unemployment compensation?
not on any of the underfunded positions. The two police officers, were two that left and we didn't fill,
Okay.
and then the one that's leaving in the end of June, is leaving as a resignation, so that won't be filled.
All right, thank you.
Fire also cut their personnel training by $2,000. They had a FEMA match in here of $51,011 for a truck that they no longer are going to get. And then they reduced their building remodeling, their telephone and power by $15,000. So altogether, the fire department cut $207,911.
If we close the South Court Street Station, will there be any additional savings to this budget? No?
Maybe a little utilities, but that's about it.
So the total reduction for fire is 207,911,
Correct.
and police was 237,772.
Correct.
And I just want, as a note, so neither department is cutting staff. We're unfunding unfilled positions. The only people we're cutting are, how many part-time firefighters are
There was what?
there? 5. And we're unfunding those. So they could continue to work but won't be paid.
Well, they're being laid off.
Laid off? Okay, so they've been officially notified layoff?
They have, numbers were sent out Friday.
5.
And while you can say that we're not laying police officers off, those positions were funded and are currently funded. So it is a reduction of force. It's just not a reduction of force that is resulting in layoffs.
And I assume that's because Chief, you recently had some people leave or resign, go to different departments?
Yeah, we had one retirement, and then we had one officer go to Lancaster, and then we just had another officer go to Grandview. So we do have one position that we will hire for. So that takes us for road officers, we're allotted 21 through council. It takes us to, right now we're at 15, and we're allowed 4 sergeants, and we have the 4 sergeants. So it takes a total of 19 for the total number right now. And we can have 20 as what's funded.
Okay, thank you for that clarity.
On page 21 is Fund 213. Again, this is a drug enforcement fund of the police department. It can only do the money it has in it, which is $43. On page 22 is Fund 216. This is the .1 income tax fund. Revenue income tax has been flat, so the reductions in here are $11,549. That is almost 100% police and fire pension reductions, and those reductions are actually moved up into the safety fund. On page 23 is Fund 217. This is the Police and Fireman Disability Pension Fund. This is real estate taxes. Our real estate taxes are down. So this is cutting it by $8,000. And then on page 24 is the Municipal Immobilizing Disabling. This is a court fund. It's a special revenue fund that the court gets to do the devices they put on cars for DUIs and things like that. So they're increasing it by $7,500 to equal the amount of money, the cash value they have in that fund right now for those devices. That's all the special revenue funds. Does anybody have any questions on them, on those?
Not at this point.
We'll start on page 25, which is the Capital Fund 306. In the first section is the police department. It is cut $35,000. The police department had asked for 2 new police cruisers. They will not be, this cuts those 2 cruisers from the budget. On page 26, you will see that $41,876 for street equipment was removed, $10,000 for another equipment was removed, and then another $10,000 was reduced for equipment lease. That's for the new dump trucks. That $10,000 is what went to 204. The total lease payment is actually $68,124. Yes, Tom?
Is this miscellaneous street equipment, or is this a particular specialized vehicle, or?
That was for the hot box that we wanted. So the hot box, so we can actually, we're like right now, instead of putting coal
Yes.
instead of putting coal mix in the potholes, we could actually get hot asphalt and do a much better job. So we save money, but we don't have the money to spend. All right, thanks.
On page 27, you will see building maintenance and repair. All $160,000 has been removed. And then on computer finance, $17,500 was to replace the domain server that serves City Hall and the admin building. For total reductions there of $177,500.
So Don, that $160,000 again are just other building maintenance projects that we might want to do.
$100,000 of it was phase 2 of the police and court HVAC upgrades. We did $100,000 last year. This was phase 2. We have a phase 3. And $30,000 of it was for the police and court generator that is still the original generator. I forget what the other 30, I think it might have been Fire Station 2 was the other one, I think. So those projects obviously will not go forward this year.
Okay, thank you.
Starting on page 28, we're starting into utility funds. And the first section on page 28 is water administration. The service director realigned some of the staffing in these departments. So it's not really a cut in staffing, it's just a realignment, getting rid of some old positions that have been in the budget for a while. So it's reducing personnel by $10,900, and then it has some other smaller costs for a total reduction of $20,317 in administration. And then page 29 is just the detail for that. Then if you go to page 30, you'll see the reductions in water maintenance and distribution. There was a $50,000 reduction, is the biggest one for new meters. There was some realignment in personnel, and then there was an increase in indirect costs for a total of $35,104 in reductions in the water maintenance distribution area.
Question.
Yes.
The new meters, these are the remote reads. Yeah, how far along are we on that?
Those are radio reads. Basically, we've never spent $50,000 a year on them. So, what most of these are most of these corrections and most of these adjustments are a result of the utility audit. One of the complaints and one of the things in the utility audit is we don't budget well. We budget X dollars and we only ever actually spend like 60% of them. So most of these are adjusting these lines to more realistic numbers.
And how far along are we in terms of replacing old meters?
We're, I can't tell you the exact percentage, but There's 50,000 in water and 50,000 in sewer. There was 100,000 in water and 100,000 in sewer. We don't have the manpower to change $200,000 worth of meters. So by 50,000 in water, 50,000 plus 100,000, we'll probably spend about 60,000 on that, just based on manpower requirements. Okay.
So if we go to page 32, you come to the water plant, you'll see reductions there of a total of $111,869. Again, personnel was adjusted, and there was a small adjustment in the indirect costs, but for the most part, it's all personnel and a realignment of that personnel.
So just a question, we won't do it this evening, but Don, if the COD Service Committee, you can just give some more explanation on personnel changes or adjustments, what that exactly means. Give us some more detail around that. How that's a savings to us, what you did there. Because I'm sure those people are moved around either within the comp plan or their union agreements.
Actually, and just real quickly, basically, it is positions that have not been filled for a number of years. In the water plant one, we have in the organization a water plant superintendent and a water plant supervisor. We only filled one of the two positions, and you'll find that in various departments. It's positions that have existed that just haven't been filled for some of them probably for 10 years.
Probably.
Tom?
Yeah, since this is enterprise, are people conserving more water or using less? What's the cause of the reductions there?
Well,
I mean, you said that some of us, we just over budgeted.
yeah, a lot of it is, it's the same thing as the general fund did. We bring in, I can't tell you the exact number. Water and sewer brings in $2.5 million. We've been budgeting $5 million. Okay? They have never, the revenues and the budgets have never matched. So, this is bringing them closer in line. So, and I mean, that's the same as the general fund. We've been budgeting more than we bring in, and that carryover is getting smaller, and so you don't have as much money each year because of that reduction every year.
So, if I hear you correctly, what we're doing is trying to just be closer on our budgeting targets, rather than we're having shortfall revenue.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So did anybody have any questions on the water plant? We also realigned the transfers into the capital funds that are for the water department, a reduction of $400,000. So all the reductions in the water fund 808 total $567,290. We're now moving to page 35. And in Fund 821, we had an increase for the OWDA loan. The loan is actually $66,266 is the payment, so we had to do that increase for that loan. In Fund 838, which is the Water Plant Rehabilitation Fund, there's a reduction of $100,000. And then $100,000 in professionals for a total of $200,000. We're now down to page 38. Again, this is sanitary sewer administration. It's almost the identical same cuts that you saw in water administration because they're just divided in half. So there's a reductions in personnel of about 11,000.
What about the mapping project? That's a
The GS, and there's a 20,000 in the mapping, the GSI mapping reduction.
Now,
And
last
then-
year,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Last year we spent $636, and then we budgeted $50,000. Is that startup cost?
Yes, we had tried to get it started last year. We have some very good mapping. It's just not user-friendly. Actually, there's also, if you look, that's also in the water, the sewer, and the stormwater capital is paying for that, because that's the mapping for those. And we're just getting a slow start. We'll probably spend close to $50,000 a year the next 2 or 3 years.
Let's see. Okay, thank you.
We're on page 39. You'll see an increase of $266,400 in the Pickaway County distribution. As most of you are aware, our utility department is now collecting for Pickaway County Sanitary Sewer District. So this is an increase in what that distribution of their funds are for the year. And its revenue matches dollar for dollar, so it's in and out. At the bottom, page 39, we start on sewer maintenance and distribution. You'll see again the $50,000 cut for new meters, and then a reduction in new equipment of $42,500, and a change in indirect costs for a total reduction in sewer maintenance and distribution of $100,954.
What page are we on, 40?
41.
Oh, 41. Okay.
40 and then 41.
Okay, thank you.
When is the jet vac lease up? Do we have,
Oh, it's been up, it's done.
what is going on here?
No, it's not.
Well, there's no money in it.
No, I think it's got a few more
I didn't
years.
think it had, I thought it was done.
No, I know it's at least this year.
It's the bottom line.
This year?
I know it's budgeted this
This
year.
year.
I can't tell you exactly when it's up.
Okay.
I'd have to do a little research. Probably, I think it was in this year's budget.
On page 41 at the bottom is the wastewater plant. There were reductions there of $200,000 in energy costs. Well, that can't be
Or
right.
it's 20,000.
20,000 in energy costs, but I think I have 200.
Yeah, that was 20,000.
Went from 220 to 200 energy cost.
It should have
He
been a
wishes.
$20,000 reduction.
It should have been 20, it should be reversed.
That's what it says. 220 to 200, that's 20,000.
Okay.
It should be 220 to 200, and it's 220 to 20, so there's a zero missing there. He needs 200,000 for utilities, not 20,000. See what I mean? On page 41,
Yeah.
it's cut 200,000. It needs to be cut 20,000.
It says cut 20,000.
And he has 200.
What is your?
I don't have that. I'm looking at the actual ordinance, it has it cut at 200, it should be 20.
Yeah, the spreadsheet shows a $20,000 reduction.
Oh, 43, I see 200,000.
If you look at page 11 of the ordinance, it shows that the reductions are $31,106 for personnel, and then $213,861, which includes $200,000 reduction in energy, and that has to be corrected. It should only be a $20,000 reduction.
Section 20?
If you go to page 11 of the ordinance
Yeah,
itself, where it says $213,861,
Yes.
that should be should be 33,861, and not 213,861.
Can you make that correction and give it to Linda?
Yeah, I'll make that correction and put it in the box tomorrow. Don usually catches me on that stuff.
Oh,
He's good.
All right.
I look forward to general fund this time.
So that will drop that down to 33,867. Then in its transfers, it's reducing those by 400,000,
This is page 42.
page 42. And it's reducing its transfers down to $400,000.
So just for the public and the people that may be watching, we're talking these huge numbers of reductions, but they're in the utilities account, which doesn't help us in capital fund, general fund, or safety fund. It's your water and sewer bill dollars that come in. So there's a lot of times we make big adjustments in those various accounts, but that won't help prop up our budget elsewhere that needs funds.
So Fund 920, which is sanitary sewer improvement and extension, which is page 43, is a reduction of $200,000. And then page 44, sewer replacement fund, which is the wastewater treatment plant, is a reduction of $90,000. And that covers everything that's in the housekeeping ordinance.
Okay, so if you have the ordinance now in front of you, a lot of those fund amounts that she read correlate to the different pages. Again, this ordinance is 12 pages long. There was one typo on page 11 under wastewater plant 47. The auditor will give the clerk a new copy. We changed that $213,861 amount to $33,861. And also change the total too, won't it, Gail?
It'll change the total at the bottom, yes.
Gail, do you have any comments to things to point out on the ordinance itself? I know that the Excel sheet is a supporting document of the ordinance, but do you have anything specifically on the ordinance you would point out? Yeah?
No, it just adds up what's on the Excel sheet. Yes.
Questions from Tom?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what offices or departments do not have a reduction in expenditures in this appropriations. You mentioned
Municipal
clerk of
court.
courts and council.
Municipal court, clerk of courts, and council.
Law director?
Law director.
So, as an explanation of that question, when I met with the mayor and the auditor, I drafted an email and sent it to all elected officials asking for a recommended reduction in the general fund, and there was some offices that did not submit any reductions, those that were just mentioned. Also, in our meeting with my meeting with the mayor and the auditor, there were other budget proposals. One was the donation of the water and sewer to the parks. We're going to have an ordinance related to that in just a second. Also was to redirect cable television franchise fees for 1 year. We've already addressed that ordinance. The third one was we were going to ask the unions and exempt to not take vacation conversion. Tony, do you have an update on that from the 3 unions?
We had a meeting with each one of the unions, as we have yet to hear back anybody yet on that. I know the NUEO met today. I believe they were having a vote. The police, to my knowledge, have not yet voted, and I believe it sounds like we'll probably have support with the fire, but again, it's not confirmed with anyone.
And all 30 of those, there will be like an official union vote.
There will be for each one. Each union We'll have
Because that's a
those.
significant amount of savings, $70,000 estimated. And if I believe it, we were hoping that it would be all or none. I mean,
I believe that's how Gail really sat down and explained it to each union, that we really needed each union to participate. And that was in hopes that along with all the cuts that we have here, that we could hopefully not have any other layoffs coming through the rest of the year.
because again, if one of the unions or don't support it, that's an additional cut that we'll have to find in the budget.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. That's what's happening. So.
Tom?
Yes, would you describe what is being proposed here? I'm not familiar with it.
But each one of the bargaining each one of the unions has something that allows them to sell vacation time back. And each union is a little different. But what the city has asked each one of these unions is to suspend that ability to sell vacation time back. And Gail has the numbers for each one that tentatively what that will save the city if each union agrees to suspend that for the year. It was a request for this year and this year alone.
So, for those who may be watching on television, can you give an example of how that sale works?
Sure. Towards the end of the year, is typically when you'll see it happen. You'll have employees that want to sell back, let's say, a block of 40 hours vacation time.
That they did not use?
That they did not use in their bank. They have earned. And at certain times, it could even be with a 15% on top of that. So if they're 40 hours, it would be 40 hours plus 15%. And that's all been negotiated in their union contracts. And what we've asked each one of those unions is to suspend all of those.
For 1 year.
For this year alone, for 2019. Like I said, we spoke to them last week, so I mean, it's not unreasonable that they haven't got back with us yet.
Yeah.
So they have an opportunity to speak with everybody and get a vote. So it's not to me, it's not concerning yet that we don't have a response back.
It's just to be noted though, the 3 units, that's a significant number, $70,000.
Thank you.
Questions about the housekeeping ordinance? If there is none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to forward this on council with the recommendation passed.
Second the motion.
Second that. Now, under discussion, Gail, let's talk about timing. We are underneath under the timing requirement, so this ordinance will go for its first reading on March the 19th.
And it has to be passed by April 1st, or we'll be in non-compliance.
The non-compliance is a state ORC,
It's Ohio Revised Code says that we have to be in the black by April 1st.
so we would have to act on this at the first reading. I asked the auditor the question yesterday or today, I don't remember when, but if we were not in compliance, tell us what that means.
We will get a citation on our audit,
And could potentially be under fiscal watch.
not as long as we're paying or are capable of paying our bills.
So it's just important to know that we need to act on this at the next regular council meeting.
So it don't have to have 3 readings like some.
Most housekeeping ordinances are automatically considered emergency ordinances by ORC. They take effect immediately upon passage. So most housekeeping ordinances, and this is basically just a very large housekeeping ordinance, it always takes effect immediately.
Typically, our overall budget proposals mid-year and in-year, we do hold for 3 readings.